afternoon, everyone. How's everybody's day going? Hopefully, you're all having a great day, having a good start to the week. What is going on? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you all hit that like button, hit that subscribe, share this channel out with everyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit those heart emojis down there at the bottom, too. It does really help out with the live stream. Let's continue growing this channel out. I got a special guest with me here today, and we got former Major League Baseball pitcher Nick Goody on the show. Nick, how we doing, man?
What's up, brother? Doing good. Doing good.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your busy life or busy days, and hanging out with us.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the kids are in there, so we'll see. We'll see how long it takes until they try to beat the door down.
For sure, man. If the kids get on camera, it's all good. You know, try to keep it kid friendly around here. So but yeah, man. So how's life going? How's the family doing? Everybody all good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. The boys are one is 2, about to be 3. The other one is 6. So he's in first grade. Had a chaperoned a field trip last week to Gatorland because we're down here in Florida.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And then the 2-year-old's hell on wheels. So I mean, he's full throttle 24/7. So, but yeah, we're staying busy. They play t-ball. Well, the older one plays t-ball, and the younger one's ready to play, but he's a little too young right now. But yeah, it's been fun.
I understand. So I take it you're tuning into the World Series. You've been watching the World Series, the playoffs.
I did. Yeah, I fell asleep the first game. I fell asleep in about the 7th. I think that was a Thursday, right? Started on Thursday.
The World Series started on Friday.
Thursday. I'm getting my days confused. Anyways, the first night I fell asleep in like the 7th, and then I watched the second game, and it is what it is.
Yeah. So one of the teams that's in the World Series, right? Obviously, New York Yankees, and I know you did play for them for a little bit. Mm-hmm. If I understand correct, you were drafted by them, but then you decided not to join them the first time.
Yeah, so I got drafted in the 22nd round my sophomore year out of State College of Florida, which is in Bradenton, a couple hours away from here.
Mm-hmm.
And I had signed a letter of intent to go to LSU. So, obviously they drafted me, and you have two just, a really important decision to make. 2 great choices. Do I go pursue, my dream and go play for the Yankees, or do I go to LSU and gamble on myself? And ultimately it wasn't the right time for me to sign professionally at that time. It was really my first year of pitching, and first full year of pitching. Prior to that, I was a shortstop. So I decided to go to LSU, and that was one of the better decisions I think I made in my career. I definitely learned how to pitch a lot better, be a more well-rounded pitcher, and then also playing in front of 10 to 12,000 a night there. So I learned how to deal with the crowds and the media. And Alan Dunn was the pitching coach at the time. It would be wrong if I didn't mention him, but he's awesome. So yeah, he got me on track, and Maneri kept us in line.
So is this a matter of, for you, is this the reason why you declined joining the majors at the time was just to try and get more experience, try to be better your craft, and then make that step to the majors?
Yeah. So I was a starter in junior college, and I had some success. I was pretty, I pitched really well for my first full year of pitching, right? So like I said, I was a dual guy. I played short, and then would come in and pitch a little bit my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I was a starter. And so I really had maybe 100 innings under my belt total. I probably pitched once, twice in high school. Never really pitched a lot, and there was a lot of things I needed to learn. I needed to learn how to how to handle failure as a pitcher. I needed to learn how to pitch in leverage situations, I guess. And, JUCO is highly competitive here in Florida, but you don't draw the same amount of crowds that you do as, an LSU or South Carolina or an Ole Miss or, really anywhere in the SEC. And so, and not only that is I really wanted to get bigger, get stronger, throw harder. And I didn't want to just be, I didn't just want to go into professional baseball and not really have like a platform. Like, all right, I've done, mind you, nothing you do in college really matters. But for me, it was like, I'm climbing each level was literally like a step in a stair. All right, boom, I hit the JUCO route. I knocked that out. Now, if anything ever happens to me, I can say I played junior college baseball. Then the next step, boom, was Division I at the, it is the best baseball school in the country. Not even an argument, but and so now if anything happens, boom, I'm there. I've gotten bigger, I got stronger. I've played here. I have a school that my kids can go to, team that I can cheer for, and then I knew I was 100% ready. After the Yankees took me my second time. So I went from the 22nd round, and 1 year I went in the 6th round of my junior year. Yeah. And by that time I knew for a 100% fact, like, all right, I'm ready to go pro. And I think that was the difference maker. It was my mindset. So at a JUCO, I was like, oh, do I go? Where do I go? This and that. After LSU, I was like 100% ready to go. So as soon as I stepped into pro ball, I was, matured as a pitcher and knew how to handle success and failure, and really went in full throttle. And I think my first half of season, I went from short season to high A, which they were like, it was unheard of, I guess, at the time. But, I thought I should have been in the show, but, they had to move you slow. So
I get that. I mean, I guess they have their reasons, right? So as far as
no, it's smart. It's smart. You want to test a guy at every level and see where he's at. I didn't spend much time in short season. I think it was about a week, and then in low A I spent about a month, and then by that time I spent 2 weeks, and I got called up to high A and spent about 2 weeks, and then the season was over. And mind you, I had played a full collegiate season as well, so there was a lot of throwing going on in there. So it was. I understood it. I mean, as a competitor, you're like, let's go. I'm having success. Let's go. But I would compare high A at the time to like a really good SEC program in 2012. Now it's like the guys are just unheard of. Like, they're just ridiculous. So they're saying high A, double A even for a good SEC. Like that's what the SEC is comparable to.
Yeah, I got you, man. Okay. Now you mentioned playing shortstop. Did you play shortstop in high school or throughout high school?
Yep.
Why the transition from shortstop to pitching?
I didn't want to make a transition. I kind of so I started short in high school. Always had a good arm. And then when I didn't really get recruited much as a shortstop. I think I had like a walk-on spot at Florida State. I had one Division I offer. It was at Elon. I had a Division II offer, which was University of West Florida, and then Manatee Community College, which now is the State College of Florida. And I didn't want to go on as a walk-on. Like, you're not guaranteed anything, And West Florida, I was like, it was a great campus, a great spot, but Manatee decided they wanted to sign me as a two-way, or State College of Florida wanted to sign me as a two-way player to play short and then pitch whenever, or, and I didn't think I would ever pitch, but it was always in the back pocket. And so signed there as a two-way guy, dominated my freshman fall, like that in leadoff. I switch hit too. So I was, I hit really well, played defensively really well. And then we had winter break, and then I came back, and it was like I forgot how to field a ground ball. Like, dude, I made like errors in like 2 weeks, and then the coach was like, I'll tell you this, my first game, I get up, I crank a homer, and one of the like biggest parks around here, it was like hard to get out. The air is really dense, and that was right-handed and lefty. I get up, I hit a single up the middle, and I remember taking my batting gloves off and my first base coach, and I was like, dude, I look at him like, this is going to be easier than high school. And from that game on, it was like just downhill. Sucked, dude. I couldn't hit, couldn't field. It was pretty brutal. So they gave me some time off, and they kept saying, all right, we're going to give you a week off, get your mind right, and then we're going to play you back in there. Well, 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and then then I found myself throwing bullpens, and then the rest is pretty much how history, I guess, how it went. I kind of played my way into a pitcher only.
Yeah, I mean, I know some, you're not the only player to make some transition from one position to a different position. So, I just was curious, why how that change happened and why it happened. Now I know you obviously pitched for the New York Yankees. That was the first team that you played with. You've had a few stints with the Yankees. I know that. So, tell us a little bit about that. What was the experience like in New York, and did you feel like there was a lot of pressure on you during that time? Like, how did you feel playing there?
Yeah, I mean, I was a rookie, so I was one of the younger guys coming up. I didn't really know how to navigate the city too well, as far as taking trains and whatnot. So like I was pretty reliant on a lot of guys that had played there to kind of show me which trains to get on, the D train, then the 4 train. And it's either that or I was dropping $100 an Uber ride, which I was like, you're making it, you're making decent money, but it's like, I want to spend $100 every single day to build, And so, I mean, baseball wise, I felt pretty good. I mean, but it was everything else. Like, I wouldn't say there was pressure. There's pressure anywhere you go to perform, so, and if, you feel that, and you either, rise up or you don't. And, but all the other things that go along with being a Yankee, like, you just don't, I don't think the regular average fan realizes, like, it's an adjustment period. You're in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay. And then you get called up to New York. Like, right. It's a totally different, everything is different, there was days, a lot of days I was beating the coaches there. We'd have a 7:00 game, and I was pretty anxious, I would say. I would get there at like 11:00 and beat the coaches there, and they'd be like, they're walking in, I'm eating. They're like, what are you doing here? Stretches in until like 2. And I'm like, I didn't want to miss the train, like it was like that kind of thing. But as far as like the team, playing there, I loved it. I mean, it was great. It's very corporate feeling, and obviously right field is extremely small. So, every pop fly in right field, you kind of clinch a little bit, but the team was good. Teammates were great. CC was awesome. I came up with a lot of the guys that are playing there now. So, I mean, there's a Yankee way, and that's how I was brought up, through the system and all that. And they do it right, man.
Awesome. Would you say CC Sabathia was one of your favorite teammates, or your favorite teammate?
Well, I mean, the other thing is, like, in the minor leagues, you guys gel together because you're just there. Like, there isn't really much to do. You go to these little podunk cities, and you're not really doing much. So you stay after, you gel, and all that. And the big leagues, guys has families. As soon as the game's over, they're out. So it's not too much in New York. In Cleveland, it was a little different story, but in New York, it was like, get out and go, get out and go. I don't know how the vibes are now, but no, CC was great. I mean, he was awesome. Like, as a veteran guy, he's who you want on your team, especially for like younger guys like me. Just made me feel comfortable. Dylan Betances was another one. Andrew Miller at the time. Those guys made you feel welcome. They made you feel like part of the team, because for some people, there's an adjustment period, where you get to the show and you're kind of, some guys they're just they just have it, but some guys come up and they're unsure of themselves. Like, where do I fit in? What do I do? And I was one of those guys where I'm like, I know I can play, but I don't know when I'm pitching, because I had always been closing, all through the minor leagues. And now I get to the big leagues and I'm like, all right, games, we're up by 1. I'm like, all right, this is my time to go in. And, and I don't get called. And sometimes I wouldn't pitch for a while, but the older guys did a really good job to kind of, hey, this is kind of your role right now. And, this and that. And, but yeah, I mean, CC was great, and obviously I came up with Judge through, I think I played with 3 different levels with him. And he was one of the guys that I leaned on a lot. I was a little older. I think I'm same age. I was 1 draft class ahead of him, but we always seemed to get along really well. I mean, he was at my wedding. I mean, he's a freaking awesome guy.
Yeah, it seems like Judge is he seems like a pretty cool guy. I mean, just from watching him on TV. Obviously, I never met the man, but
yeah,
just from him doing the interviews and seeing him in the game when they have the camera on him in the dugout, he just seems very cool, calm, and collected. It seems like he hardly loses his cool. Like it seems like it's very rare if he does.
Yeah, he's a pro, man. He's a pro star. But like, you would never know that he's beating himself up on the inside, but more times than not he is, and that's how you have to handle it. Sometimes all eyes are on him at all times.
Yeah,
right? So yeah. He can sway it one way or he can sway it the other, but he keeps it right down the middle, man. And yeah, he's always been like that. I might have seen him blow up one time, but nobody would have seen it. It's just been like he's in the outfit, maybe he punches his glove a little bit or something, and you're just like, all right.
Yeah, he's a little.
I'd hate to be the glove, but
yeah. No, I don't want to get hit by that fist. That's for That's for sure, man. Yeah, and I brought up CC as well because I noticed you do have the number 52 behind you. So that CC, and you got Mariano.
Oh yeah, C's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah,
cool
he was great, man.
Stuff. Yeah. So, you spent a little bit of time with the New York Yankees, and then you then I believe you were traded, right, to the Guardians. What's now the Guardians, right? I still sometimes have a hard time saying Guardians, but I've gotten a little bit better with it. So
I've been the Indians forever. And,
yeah. I mean, that's what
I still say the Indians every now and then too, and I think I'm grandfathered in because I did play for the Indians. So
yes, you did. Absolutely, you did, man. Yeah, you definitely played. You definitely played for them. There's no.
I didn't play for the Guardians. I played for the Indians. So I think we get a pass. We get a pass.
Yeah. You did play for the Indians, man. You did. But what was different about playing in Cleveland compared to New York? Because you spent a couple of seasons there, right? So, what was different? There had to have been something way different with Cleveland than with
there's a lot of differences.
Yeah,
going from New York to Cleveland. I mean, speaking of not like baseball, but I could actually drive to the park, which was cool. Like I had some time to, which is a huge deal. Some people, they don't realize that, but like the drive to the park, you get yourself right. I'm not, on the train, you're like, all right, where my exit, this and that in New York, but in my, my truck driving, I have time to listen to what I want to listen to, prepare, mentally. And then on the way back from the game, I had like a 30-minute drive to kind of decompress before I got home, which was super nice, so it wasn't like constantly on high alert. Like I could decompress on the way there. The other thing was like in New York, the media, there's probably, I don't know, there's got to be like probably 40 people there now, 20 to 40. I don't know. But the media is always in the locker room. They listen to everything. And like, going from New York media to Cleveland media, where you have like, a couple people, Mandy, Paul Hoynes, and, 3 or 4 people. And that was a big adjustment. And then like it was a lot younger team as well. So like post games, we would hang out after the game. We would hang out, go to dinner or go grab a drink somewhere or whatever, just hang out in the locker room. And so it was more like there was more synergy in Cleveland, I felt, and probably because it was a younger team, you know, a lot of guys didn't have families, or if they did, they either weren't there, or, you know, or they just would rather stay in the locker room for a little while longer.
Yeah.
I'm changing. Yeah. But yeah, and then Tito is the X factor there as well. I mean, he keeps it, dude. He's freaking awesome, dude. Greatest, like one of the best managers, if not the best I've played for.
Yeah, I really wanted to ask you about Terry Francona, because I am a Terry Francona fan. I think I always thought he was a great manager. You know, it's great. It's actually great to see him back managing now. He's going to be managing the Reds, which I think he's a perfect guy for, because the Reds have such a young, dynamic team. Right, and I thought he was perfect for the Guardians, because the Guardians were during that, or or Indians, which whatever you want to call them. But see, I'm calling them Guardians. Yep. But during that time, like you said, they had a very young team, and I'm sure that it had been a lot of fun, a good experience to play for Tito, right? And
oh yeah.
Well, how different was he from Joe Girardi? Because I've heard things about Girardi. I mean, if you can't dive into it, I understand. But
no, he's like one of the best, like, people, like just, you had like the managerial side, Joe Girardi, and then you have like the human side. He's amazing human.
Okay.
Like, awesome guy, great leader. And just managerial side, like, I mean, very by the book, I would say. Very by the book. Where Tito's just like, I mean, they're both former players, but like Tito is more. Tito's got some dog in him. Like he's like, come in the locker room, he gets chewing, wants to play cards. I remember one time I came into the locker room in Kansas City. We had a Papa Shot, a DJ. Like, this is in the locker room. We're like walking in. We got like a disco ball, I think, going on. And we're like, what the hell did we walk into? It was like we're at like the Dave and Buster's, like in Kansas City, in our locker room. Just like, this is great. We had like Papa Shot challenges, and he keeps it really, really light. And a lot of guys respond to that. So I was one of them. I loved it. I loved how because I mean, honestly, we're playing a kid's game. Like, you take it seriously, but you can't take it too seriously. Like, you got to have fun. And he knows how to get the team, like, he knows how to get the team's pulse, but then he also knows how to, he knows what makes us go in what direction. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word, but like he's just a player's manager, dude. Like,
yeah.
He tells you straight up how it is. I remember, quick story. Like, I asked him when I first got traded over there. I was in spring training, and I pitched really well in spring training. Like, I should have made the team. I 100% should have made the team. And I was like, my numbers were absurd that year, but I walk in, they're like, I was between me and another guy, and I walk in and they're like, hey, Tito wants to see you. I'm like, all right, I'm either making the team or I'm not. I mean, I for sure thought I was going to make the team. And I had already been, up and down a million times in New York to kind of understand what was going on. So I go into his office, and it's Tito and Cherney and Chris and our pitching coach, Mickey, at the time. And they're like, hey, Nick, great job. You made a good impression, this and that. And gave me the spiel about how I'm going to go down to AAA. And at this point, I was just like, I'd been through it enough times where I'm like, all right, what, I just asked Tito straight up. I'm like, hey, what else could I have done? Like, is there anything else I could have done to make the team? And he was like, no. He's like, honestly, they want to go with our own guy, and there's nothing you can do. He goes, you keep doing what you've been doing in spring training. He said, you'll be back up here in 2 weeks. Went down to spring training. I think I was there for a week or maybe 2 weeks on the dot. And then I got called up and didn't go back down. And it was like, I mean, he just like, but for him to be honest with me, like, hey, there's nothing else you could have done. This is just a business move. Like, you don't get that everywhere. Some people, they try and sugarcoat it. Oh, you got to go do this. You got to work on this and that. Where he's just like, you did everything. If it was up to me, I would have had you. This is how we're rolling. I'm like, okay. And I think more guys like that. Just be honest.
Yeah, that's I'm sure that's always appreciated by by the players. If that managers keep it 100% honest with you, they're transparent. Because yeah, I would hate I would hate if I was a major league player or major league baseball player or an athlete for that matter for any sport, and my coaches or my managers not being transparent with me and they're sugarcoating things. So I mean, I can appreciate that. I'm glad Tito was that way with you. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah. Now, like I said, Terry Francona always seemed like that kind of guy, seemed like that kind of manager that was, would treat his people right and would is always honest with his people. So that was the vibe that I got from him. And it seemed like a lot of players such as yourself and a lot of the players that played for him have said the same thing about,
he's awesome. Like, so, did you watch the series The Comeback yet on Netflix?
With the Red Sox? No, I have not. But
watch it. Like they do a great job. That I'm not gonna spoil it, but they do a great job. And he gets interviewed in there too. I shot him a text the other day about that. I texted him when he got the job, and he always responds. So I mean, like he's not big leaguing anybody. I mean, he just cares, man. He's just a genuine person, and if you're hopefully one day maybe I'd be fortunate enough to work with him at some point. So
that would be cool. Maybe since you have his number, man, you can text him and have him come on the show, and I'll
let him know.
Yeah, let him know, man.
Yeah. I gotta get back at him.
Yeah. No doubt, man. No doubt. You mentioned being sent up and down, because you've been used to that, right? I mean, is it ever discouraging for you? Did you ever get discouraged? Did you ever lose a lot of motivation? You're just like, man, why am I even here? Why am I doing this?
Not why am I here? Why am I doing this? It's more so like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I would get, I guess I didn't really understand it because I would look at other teams and be like, well, they're not optioning their guys down 100 times throughout the year. Like I had it. My debut was crazy. I was up, didn't pitch, got sent back down. Pineda got hurt, then got called up. I was on like 9 flights in like less than a week, like flying all over the place. And then I got optioned after I pitched, and I'm just like, it's really hard to. It's like not only that, but you go from making a decent amount of money in the major leagues, and then when you get sent down to AAA, you take basically a fourth of that or less. So let's just say hypothetically you're making $500,000 in the minor leagues. When you get sent down to AAA, unless you're on a major league contract, you're making 80. So
that's a drop.
It affects it affects everything. It affects your planning for your future, right? So, and it goes by days. So, if you're making $3,500 a day at the big league level, and now you're making whatever, 1,000, which is still good, but it's 2 different lifestyles, And not only that, you're constantly traveling everywhere. It wasn't to answer your question, it wasn't discouraging, but it was like you would sometimes pitch, like say you threw 2 days in a row and you're like, all right, like I'm definitely getting optioned because they're not going to use me 3 days in a row, and they're probably not going to pitch me, or they might. New York was different than Cleveland. Cleveland, you would pitch back to back, maybe pitch a third, but usually day off, and then you'd be up for the next day. New York is like back to back, and then maybe 2 days off or 1 day for sure. But me in New York, I was just a rookie, so like I had to pitch in blowout games or lopsided games for the most part, except for my debut. I came in a tie game at my debut, which I was like, didn't make sense. But the only thing that I mean, it always sucked getting sent down, but I remember I had an outing against, and it's not always when you pitch bad you get sent down. I had an outing against Baltimore, which that team owned me, by the way. If one team owned me when I was with the Yankees, it was Baltimore. They don't know. I don't know how, but they crushed me when I was there. But I pitched against them, one of the outings, and I struck out the side. I think they all had the flu, which I don't care, but punched out the side, came in, everything was great. Went back to my hotel. Next day I come in and Chad Green's in the locker room, and I'm like, "Oh, what's up, Chad?" And didn't think that I would be the one getting option, but sure as shit, they called me in the office. "Hey, we're gonna send you down." I'm like, I just punched out the side. Like,
yeah,
it didn't make sense. And Larry, I'll never forget, Larry Rothschild looks at me and he's like, how about that, man? Strike out the side one night, get an option the next day. I'm like, dude, what in my mind.
Yeah, man.
What a joke. But it's business. It's strictly business. So I'd like to say I understand it, but some moves I didn't understand. But it is what it is.
Okay, yeah. I got it. Yeah. I mean,
maybe that was the only time I was super bitter because I'm like, I'm finally making it.
No, I mean, it's got to be frustrating because obviously, just to be transparent here, I'm a Yankees fan. So, sometimes it's one of those things where, not only me, but there's a lot of fans out there that are always like, well, why did they do this move? Why did they do that move? It's like, this pitcher pitched a good game. He looked fantastic. And then they just sent him back down. I'm just like, I'm not going to try and figure it out myself just because I'm like, I'm not in that room. So.
Well, what happens is your AAA bullpen, you have guys on the 40-man roster and your AAA bullpen, and that's just an extension of your major league bullpen. Really, the whole AAA squad is just an extension of your major league squad. So like, guys can pitch well, and it's not always fair to those guys, but business isn't really fair, man. So like,
no.
You might pitch, let's say you pitched back-to-back days and I haven't pitched in AAA in a day or two. Well, we're not going to pitch you. It doesn't matter how good or bad you did. We're not going to pitch you for a couple of days. So you're going to get sent down. The next guy's going to come up. They called it when I was there. I think it was called like the Scranton Shuttle or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So like me, Rumbelow, Cotham, who else was on it? Me, Rumbelow, Cotham. I can't remember who else, but it was like a revolving door, dude. It was like I'm going into the big leagues. He's walking out. High five. I'll see you in a couple days. And then like it's constantly. You never get used to it because it sucks, but you start building up, a callus, and I think that's why I asked Tito when they optioned me, like, hey, what else could I have done? I probably wouldn't have asked that in New York because I didn't understand. But then I started like, hey man, like I got to say something. Otherwise I'm not going to, what am I just going to get rolled over my whole career? So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's life, right? That's business. Like you said, it's it's like somebody, one of our subscribers in the chat, he says it perfectly. He says, companies lay off hundreds of people in a day.
Yeah.
And it's a business and it sucks. And, I guess, Major League Baseball, it's not any different. Right. So
it's a business. I didn't see, but like when you play, I didn't understand that until I started experiencing it. I just thought, because I had always been called up to the next level. I never had gotten sent back down to a level. So it was like, once I'm in the show, I thought I was going to stick. And then, now they're making strategic moves and business moves, which now I have a better understanding of. But at the time, I was 24, 25. Like I probably should have known, but I was just, all I cared about was playing. I didn't care about the business side. And then I started learning about what it was. And you kind of just grow up, you kind of mature and you grow up and then you start learning. There's two sides of baseball. There's the baseball side and then there's the business side and, the front office and this and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the front offices that do a great job are the ones that communicate effectively and can tell guys, hey, this is why we're doing this, not, hey, you pitch great, but we need you to learn something else. We need you to work on this. Well, why don't I just keep pitching the way I'm pitching until I absolutely fail,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Man, like I said, I wish I was. Sometimes I'm in that room with the front office, like just trying to understand, like why are they deciding? Why did they decide to make this move that
And
they
and
made?
it's okay. That's okay
Yeah,
if they make
yeah,
the move, but like I said, I'd rather have them come up and I'd rather anybody business, anything, just be honest. Like I know if I sucked, all right, I merited. I should get sent down. But if I pitch good and you're just going to tell me I need to go work on something or this and
yeah.
that, you don't really have any backing. So you're kind of just like, okay, well, it goes in one out the other, you know? They're like,
Yeah,
hey, this is, if they came up to me and was like, hey, look, you've pitched this day, you know, you got hot this day, you're pitching great. We're going to send you back down. I know it sucks, but we'll have you back up. Just keep rolling, doing what you're doing. Like that flows. It doesn't make it any better, like monetarily, but at least it, you know, at least it's like, all right, at least they're being honest with me.
Yeah. No, understood, man. I understand. I got you. Let me grab a few questions from the chat because there's a few folks that got some questions for you. So this first one is from CT Cards. I don't know if you could see it, but I'll read it off to you.
Played for the team like the Yankees. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously.
I think you kind of answered this question, but
yeah, the minors blow, dude. Yeah, the minors blow. The big leagues is where it's at. It's the show. It's like I don't know. It's like winning the lottery. It's like everything you ever worked for. You know, you finally get every ground ball you've ever fielded, every pitch you've ever thrown, every homer you've ever hit or given up, like it all accumulates to that one moment. And like that's a phone call I gave to my wife that I'll never forget. She'll never forget. And like the night before, you're just like, holy shit, this is actually happening. You know, like I'm about to be there. It's really surreal. It's just a super surreal moment. I really can't put it into words. I think it's like if you've ever worked really hard at anything for a substantial amount of time and then it actually come to fruition, then you have an understanding of maybe where I'm coming from. But it's just like I didn't cry or anything, but I was more like, you know, for me it was like finally, like, and then when I got there, then it was like, holy shit, now I got to learn how to be a big leaguer. So
yeah, got it.
I don't know if that answers your questions, but it was pretty awesome.
All right, and this other question, this is a question from Stephen B. He's asking, playing with Yankees and other organizations, which was your favorite and why? I think I know which one was your favorite, but go ahead.
Which one do you think was my favorite?
I was gonna say Guardians, but
okay. All right, yeah. I think the minor leagues, for the minor leagues, it was the Yankees. I mean, I spent a little bit of time in AAA with Cleveland when I was coming back from an elbow surgery, and we had a good team, but I personally sucked, and I was, I thought I ended up getting called up, but we had a great team. We ended up winning the whole thing. So but I wasn't there for it. I was pitching, but the Yankees like our first class everything. Airplanes are nicer, food's better. I mean, we had amazing chefs in Cleveland, but I think being in New York, they have everything just right there. Like when you travel to New York to play against them, their visiting food room is, I think, better than their home. Like you literally have everything, wow. Dude. Anything you could ask for. Like they have sushi, lobster, steak. I mean, sick. But so I mean, the Yankees are top, first class, everything. But that to me, that's cool. Like that's great. But I wanted more like family feel. Like I wanted to be like, hey, this is a family. Like and I feel like in the minor leagues in New York, I experienced that feeling, and we were always really good. Not so much in the big leagues, but in Cleveland, I experienced it right off the bat, like minor leagues and big leagues. And I think that has a lot to do with, who's setting the vibes and who's setting the tone in the locker room, which, like I said, Tito had a big part in that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. No, that helped answer the question, no doubt. So, yeah. And it's funny that you brought up food in New York because a year earlier this year, so in the beginning of the year, me and a few of the other content creators, we actually had Joba Chamberlain on, and he played for the Yankees for quite some time, and
I just talked to him the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, with Earl Marks.
Oh. Okay, cool.
He's on the Sports Loudmouth, I think.
Yeah, I know he has his own podcast. He has a podcast that he does.
Yeah, so it was good to catch up with him.
Yeah, Joba's a character. He's a character. I will say that guy is he is hilarious. Definitely does not beat around the bush. He's 100% honest. Because I asked him the question, like, when you were in New York, what was your favorite food? He's like, all of them. He's like, seriously, can you just pick one? And I'm like, dude, you got a point, because he's like, get me pizza from this place, or get me a sandwich from the bodega, whatever. He's like, give me. You put it in front of me. He's like, I'm gonna eat it. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
Dude, I told you, man. They don't play there, dude. They you just ask them. Robin Lou, home and visiting guy, like the clubhouse guys, they got their stuff on point, man. And like, yeah, you go to New York and like you expect you're giving a good tip, obviously, but like you're getting good food every night.
I miss the food in New York. I'll tell you what, man. I definitely miss it. So
it's good.
Oh, I know.
You're getting a few
born and raised, so
trip, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then there was another question I wanted to pull up here. Oh, this is a not baseball related, but this is also from CT Cards. He's asking about your Gibson LP. He's asking what year it is.
Oh,
your guitar.
I got a J45. These are both my dad's, who passed away in 2020. So
my condolences.
A Les Paul custom. I think that's a 67 Sunburst Les Paul custom. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, you're good, man. Get a little guitar action. Do you play guitar?
I dabbled a little bit.
You dabbled a little bit. I was going to ask you if you, if you played in a band or you ever played some live music.
No, I never. I'm not that good, but yeah, my dad wore this out. This was actually the first guitar, actually the first thing he ever financed. When he was like, I think he said he was like 8 or something.
Okay.
My grandmother made him work it off. So yeah, this is like his baby, So I couldn't let go of this one. He left me with like 13 guitars. I also have an SG over here too, which that was the first one that I bought. My dad had all these cool guitars, and I bought an Epiphone, and it was great, but the Gibson is just the touch, everything. It's way better, in my opinion.
For sure.
I think it's 67.
67?
Yeah.
Yeah. CT Cards is saying wow, and I think he's in love. He's 67.
Yeah, here, I'll show him this one too. Hold on 1 second.
All right, yeah, you're good, man. You're good. Looks like he's getting another guitar there, folks.
There you go.
He might start playing some tunes. Oh, that's a nice looking guitar right there.
Yeah, this one's a lot lighter. This is like what shoot, I'm drawing a blank now. For AC/DC.
Not what?
AC, not Axel. Angus Young. There it is. Angus Young plays something like that. Yeah. So this one was like, I bought this one in Cleveland when I was rehabbing my elbow because I was playing video games, and I'm like, I've played a ton of video games, and then I'm like, man, what can I do instead of just sitting here playing video games? Like, what can I do to kind of like learn something new, or I don't know, challenge my brain a little bit. So I ended up buying the Epiphone, and then I went and upgraded to the SG, and I'm missing a string on it now, but yeah, freaking my dad, FaceTime my dad, and he would run me through, chords and all that, and it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. That guitar rocks, dude. Thanks,
Okay,
shreds.
yeah. No, I thought maybe you play for fun, or I don't know if you ever ever played in like a small band, nothing like too serious,
I would
But
love to. I would love to, like even our church band. Like I would love to get up there and just take one of these and kind of just play. But honestly, I'm not that good. And I
I
always used to give my dad crap all the time. Like, it's easy to play, like try and hit a baseball. That's way harder. And then I picked up the guitar and I'm like, whoa, it gives you a much better appreciation for music 1000% when you listen to guys rip a solo, or even like people playing the keyboard, or just like learning an instrument is it's a freaking accomplishment, dude. If you can play, it's like I'm utmost respect for musicians.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a niece, and she plays a few different instruments, right? So she plays the piano, she plays oboe, she plays the clarinet. So she's in high school now, and yeah, just the work that she puts in, I'm just like, kid, like I couldn't do what you do. You know what
No,
I mean?
man, that's
And
like, but
she's yeah,
that's the thing. Like that's their sport,
yeah,
Like I don't know what you played growing up, baseball, football, basketball, whatever you played, but think about it, as you put as much time into playing guitar or whatever as you did in your sport. Like, not saying you would be the greatest, but you'd probably be pretty good. You know, I always think
yeah.
about that too. I always told the guys like, I miss my calling. I should have been a rock star. Like, I was in the big leagues in White Sox, and we were in Chicago, and I remember my bullpen coach was like, asking me a question or something, and I remember like the night before I watched like Leonard Skinner live at the Coliseum, or like Led Zeppelin, or I was watching Metallica or something, and I
Nice.
was like,
Yeah.
bro, he's like, what do you got? And I'm like, I go, what am I doing here, man? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I should have been a rock star, dude. Because no matter what, the fans are gonna love you. You go out and suck, they love you. You go out and shred, you freaking got it. Like he started laughing, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'll just pitch then.
So I take it music would have been your other passion then? It would have been your other passion if it wasn't baseball. Um,
Uh, dude, honestly, I didn't start really liking like playing music until I hurt my elbow, and then I started trying to figure out how to play. I mean, I loved music. Don't get me wrong. Grew up on it, but I didn't start appreciating it. So, I mean, there was a crossroads in my life when I was young where it was like, I did like a lot of water sports. So like I wakeboarded. I don't know if you know what that is.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I wakeboarded quite a bit in high school, and then I played baseball. I never played really any other sports. It was just wakeboarding, skiing, tubing, and baseball. But there was a point where I was like, do I pursue wakeboarding and try and make that my profession, or do I stay on the baseball route and go on the baseball route? And don't get me wrong, the wakeboarding lifestyle probably fits me more. Like I'd much rather be at the lake, hanging out on the boat, but obviously I didn't choose that, and I'm grateful I didn't choose that route. So now I have all the time in the world to go out there and, well, I shouldn't say I have all the time in the world, but I have time now to go out and rip around with my kids.
Yeah, no doubt. So real quick, you're not playing baseball anymore. What do you do in your free time now? Are you just spending it more with your family? Are there any
Yeah.
activities that you're doing like base? Are you coaching or anything like that, or like to get into coaching?
Yeah. So as soon as I stopped playing, I went and actually got my pilot's license, and that's what I was saying. I was supposed to have a flight today at 5:30, but the weather was looking kind of bad, so we canceled it. But I went and got my private license, my
Nice.
instrument rating, my commercial license, multi-engine rating, my CFI license. So I'm like certified flight instructor. Haven't used it much, haven't flown much, but I'm doing that. finishing my degree from LSU. So if I wanted to coach, I tried to coach collegiately over here at UCF, but I didn't have a degree, so I wasn't really even a candidate. And then try to maybe dabble in like a little broadcasting or pregame, postgame shows. I do a couple things. One with our Players Association. It's called Players Way, where we do like baseball camps. And the other thing is a marketing deal. I kind of just fell into this marketing gig, which I'm still learning the ropes on that, but it was kind of cool. And then, yeah, I mean, I put some feelers out. I was actually texting a couple of guys today about coaching too. I think my wife wants me to get back into the coaching because she wants me out of the house, but no, I do that. And then my buddy owns a construction company, so that's what I've been doing, kind of
cool.
dabbling in learning how to use tools and put up some things and build stuff. And so that's kind of what I do, as my job. And then all the other stuff, I'm trying to figure it out. He's really cool. He lets me, sort of come and go and like, if I have to take a day off, it's, there's no, like, it's good. So like I could, and he knows that I'm still like avidly searching for my next career move. So
I understand.
Pretty flexible.
Yeah, no, I feel that, man. Nah, you it's funny you mentioned like the pregame. So I actually do pregames mainly for like for Yankees. So so I'll go live for pregame. So in the future, man, if you ever want to come on, let me know, man. We could rock out together.
I'm down, dude. Yeah, I did one with Cleveland not too long ago, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed it and didn't think I would like it that much, but I actually did. My son was there. My wife was up there. Cleveland opened the door for us, man, and rolled out the carpet, and it was great. And they let me get on there and talk about the bullpen, which was dominant all year. Sadly, the boys got burnt, but it was a win-win situation for me in the DS, Cleveland and Yankees, I was like, all right, I'm happy for both guys. So
yeah. So. No, I started doing pre-games this year because I started this channel about almost a year ago. So and then when the regular season started, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna dabble into like doing pre-games, and it's been I actually have a lot of fun. So I mean, I kind of do my thing, and So if it's something you ever want to do, man, I'd love to get you on in the future.
I'm down. I'll give you a little, maybe, I mean, you got your stuff on point, but some things, I'd be like the color guy. Some things, these guys have pitched multiple days in a row. We don't know how the bullpen's going to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'll add some depth.
For sure, man. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd love to get you on. I mean, maybe we could, I know if you're on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, I could reach out to you there, or you could reach out to me wherever you want to do it, man. But we could do something like that. Couple more questions here from the chat here, there, Nick. So this one's from the Ace Avenue, which shout out to the Ace. He's asking, you mentioned dealing with failure. What is the best way to deal with failure?
I mean, the best, if you play baseball, or if you play any sport, the best thing you can have is a short-term memory. It's got to be. I had a rule with my wife, and I adapted it through pulmonary at LSU. But once the clock hits 12 o'clock at night, which usually I'm either driving home at that time or whatever, it's a new day. Whatever had happened throughout that game is completely gone. Don't get me wrong. I won't forget the mistake I made or whatever, but the feeling goes away. It has to go away. Otherwise, it snowballs. And I didn't learn that. I didn't really learn that until probably when I got to Cleveland, actually. Because in New York, I would just feel it all the time. If I had a bad outing or whatever, like, I'm going to get sent down. Where in Cleveland, Tito pulled me aside. I was like, I want you to stay. And so after about a month, I started really like, I'm here. Like I'm here. If I fail, so what? It's like two best words in baseball are F it. It is what it is. Roll it. Next pitch. Let's roll.
Yeah,
Short-term memory.
Short-term memory. Yeah, I've heard that from you now. I've heard some other, I've heard a few other players say that you know, you got to get over what happened and
Mhm.
move on to the next game, because really the results are not going to change. The
No.
results, it is what it is. What it is. If you had a bad game, you had a bad game. If your team lost, they lost. There's no point in dwelling on it. Like, I mean, you could dwell on it for that moment. I'm sure, right? You could dwell on it, and you're going to be dwelling on it.
Well,
But
you
at some
should.
point, as you
You
should,
should
yeah,
feel
because
that.
yeah.
Feel it, because you
Mhm.
don't want that feeling again. Feel that feeling. It sucks. Giving up a homer sucks. Walk off homers, it sucks. Walk off the mound and know, like, I don't ever want to feel that way again. So how can I get better? How can I make sure that I don't feel that way again? And like, you will respond. Whether you think it, you will or not, you will respond. Whether it's good or bad, that's how you it's like you're putting it out there. So
Copy. And then one more question from the chat. So
yeah,
this is from Jonathan here. You're a pitcher, and this question always comes up with current pitchers or former pitchers. Elbow injuries increasing over the past 15 years. He's asking, why do you think? But I mean,
I mean, I'm not a
you're not
doctor.
a doctor. Yeah, you're
I'm
not a
not a
doctor.
doctor, but I
If you
mean,
had to guess,
clear. I mean, look at the average velocity's gone up.
the guys are throwing harder.
Guys are throwing harder, and they're not necessarily moving better, but they're bigger, stronger, faster. So your body can only withstand so much before it breaks down, and it doesn't. I don't think it really matters how good you take care of yourself. At some point, you're gonna break down, whether whether you're pitching or you're running, your knees or whatever, you're gonna break down. But obviously, I think the off speed usage has gone up. I'm sure it's gone up pretty incrementally. And then the fastball velocity has for sure gone up. And when you add those two together, you're putting a lot of stress on your elbow, your shoulder, your body, just in
Yeah.
general. And when one thing gives out, whether it's your bicep or your forearm, that's just a trickle down effect. Whether, like I said, whether it's your elbow, your shoulder, or whatever, it's like you can't, one muscle's trying to make up for another, and it usually doesn't work out too well.
Yeah, because pitchers these days, they're throwing a lot harder. They're throwing so much harder. It's like every pitch is 100 miles per
99.
hour. 99, right? And it's insane. And I think it's just because of analytics, right?
Yep.
Analytics is saying so. And I don't know how you feel about analytics. I know some ex-ball players and old school fans are not necessarily the biggest fans of it. Others are saying, we like it, we appreciate it, but we try to find that blend of analytics and putting eyes on the game. I know analytics plays a big role. It's not going anywhere, so that's a fact. And obviously, Major League Baseball has also implemented some new rules, especially for pitchers. They have that pitch clock now.
That could be another reason too, why, because there's not enough rest time in between or something. I think Scherzer mentioned something like that, where it's like, you're just like, boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
boom,
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that too, right? Because I've asked other people that I've had on this channel, and they told me that they think that the pitch clock has is not affecting it. And of course, Major League Baseball said it too, but I don't want to say it's just I'm not buying it personally. I don't want to say it's the sole reason why, but I feel like it plays a role.
Yeah, anytime you change something, right? Like,
yeah,
it's like cause and effect. Let's see what happens if we speed it up. If we speed the game up, now the pitchers have to be in better shape, because now they pitch every 20 seconds or 16 seconds, whatever the clock is. Like, I mean, it could definitely play a role. We won't know, right? I mean, and even if it does, they're probably not going to say it's from the pitch clock, right?
No.
They're gonna, from the velocity, it's from this and that. But it definitely might play a role. And like speaking on analytics, I think, like you said, I think analytics are great. Don't get me wrong, I think they're great. but I don't think they're the end all be all. You need to, if you're going to have analytics and you have a great analytic department, the Yankees have a great one. You need to have people. You want former players, I would say, who have been there, done that, to be able to regurgitate what they're saying to the actual player, because some players have no idea what, well, now they do, but like spin axis and sheen sifted wake and all the different terminology, and it's like, how can we get the analytical department to talk to our coaches and kind of filter it through to the players? And when you can find a player who can speak analytics and speak baseball, I think you have a kind of a diamond in the rough there, like a unicorn.
Yeah.
But I think there's a shift that, we went really hard into analytics, 13, 14, 15, and with the money ball and all that, and it's not going anywhere. And I think that's great. But I think they're going to start swinging back to having former players and guys who have been around a little bit as coaches and whatnot, just because they're more relatable. You relate. I've been there. I've done it. I know how you're feeling. I know what it feels like to sit in that chair. I know what it feels like to strike out the side, give up a grand slam, this and that. And like, guys will gravitate towards those coaches or those former players, and then that's their opportunity as a coach to drop some wisdom and some knowledge on them, and obviously hopefully make them better.
Yeah, for sure. I wanted to really get your thoughts on analytics, and obviously, with the game today, because the game was still like when you started to where it is now. It has changed. It has evolved depending on how you look at it, right? How do you feel with all these rule changes now? How do you? I know they're trying to speed up the game, but I don't feel like the game's getting any quicker. I feel like the games are still taking 3 hours. So I mean, how do you feel with all these rule changes? And they're talking about even making some other changes in Major League Baseball. And I'm personally from a fan side, I'm not really a fan of it. I feel like they're destroying the originality of the game a little bit.
I'm probably right there with you.
Okay.
It's baseball's baseball, but I like the game how it was before we started implementing all the new rule changes.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hard slides at second base. I personally wasn't, taking the brunt force there,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I love that, dude. I love the hard-nosed baseball. I love the collisions at the plate. Obviously, a lot of catchers are going to be like, but to me, it was just like, it was like, all right, this is not football, but like, everybody's like, oh, baseball, this and that. But like, dude, you get rocked with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, or you get rocked by Stanton rounding third base, now that you can't do that. So it's like, I don't know. And like, guys are getting like the Volpe and the dude from Kansas City, like a hard tag. Like, give me a break, bro. Back in the 90s, they were running through you, dude. Your glove was flying.
Yeah.
Concussed, you were still playing. Like, drives me nuts, man.
Yeah.
I liked it like that, but I can see as a fan that the pitch clock, we went to the couple games in Cleveland and Tampa game, and I think it does make the game go a little faster, and especially in between pitches. I was notoriously slow, so like, I'm sure none of my teammates enjoyed that, but that was time for me to gather my thoughts. Now it's like, and as a fan now, okay, I didn't like it at first, but now I'm like, all right, the game's flowing pretty smooth, so whatever. But I don't think they should move the mound back or make the bases bigger or take away hard slides or whatever else they're going to do. But it is what it is. And bring back the sticky stuff. It seemed to be like the tack they had on there. There was less arm injuries. I don't know.
Well, there was talk of that too, with the sticky stuff, the spider tack or whatever it was. You had a better grip with the ball. The ball spun better. But now it's like, without that stuff, now it's like, it seems like it's affecting the pitcher's arms now. Yeah, I guess, bring that stuff back. I suppose you can bring steroids back too. Kidding. But,
I will say this: when Sosa and McGuire had their home, like that was some of the best, most fun baseball I've ever. Just watching freaking WWE wrestlers out there swinging baseball bats. Pretty awesome. Bodybuilders.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Yeah, I did, before I let you go, I wanted to get your thought on the, analytics and the rules and the pitch clock, because again, I've had other folks on the show, some like it, some don't. Some of the old, like the real old school guys, I know are probably not the biggest fans of it, but they're not. If they were in the game today, if like Greg, if Greg Maddux was pitching today, he probably who's to say he wouldn't? Would he even be pitching in Major League Baseball? Because he wasn't like a hard thrower, but he was an excellent pitcher.
Well, when he came up, he threw pretty hard, but then it kind of teetered on down, and then it was just supreme control.
Yeah,
right. Was it Hendricks for the Cubs? Like same type of thing, just control with the changeup. I mean, yeah, I don't know, but then but then if you put like a Luis Severino or Garrett Cole in the '60s, if their era was the 1960s to the '70s, and they probably would have played till they're 50. So it's like I don't know. Game's evolved a lot.
It has,
but
yes.
It I don't know. I guess as fans, you're just kind of along for the ride, and not really much you can do. I guess if you wanted, you could boycott it, but I don't know.
We're going to continue watching the game, as frustrated as sometimes we get. Yeah. We're going to continue watching the sport.
Well, I will say this: it's not just the fans frustrated. I'm more than positive that a lot of the players will probably feel the same way you guys do.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure managers, GMs, the front office, like the president, owners, teams. Yeah, they're probably
over it.
Just as frustrated as we are, I'm sure, but they can't really say a whole lot. So
handcuffs there, bud. If you want your job.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But before I let you go, Nick, was there anything else that you wanted to say to us, to the chat? Anything else we need to know about you?
No, man, we're just chilling, man. We're I don't know where the next what the next career step is. Maybe I coach, maybe I'm broadcasting. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe I'm a rock star. I don't know. Well, just kind of seeing what comes next, and enjoying my time with my family and flying and whatnot. So, but I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and to talk with me and chat with us. I know folks in the chat, they always appreciate if a former player comes on, or if a current player comes on the show. I feel like it's good because every player, whether it's current or former, they all have a different mindset. They all have different opinions when it comes to the sport of baseball, or when it comes to the teams that they played for. So, it's good to have those different experiences. So I do appreciate you coming on. And I said, man, if you ever want to do any pre-gaming in the future
hit me up, dude.
I'll hit you up. I'll follow you on, I'll give you a follow on X, and that's my Twitter handle right there on the bottom. So, you'll see it there. But I'll hit you up. I'll message you, man, and be like, hey, how you want a pregame? So maybe we could get some stuff going for 2025.
Yeah, let's get it on the books, dude. Let me know.
Yeah, we'll do. But Nick, thank you for coming on, and we'll love to get you on again in the future. I'll definitely hit you up on X, and let's get something going, man.
Sounds good, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Take
it easy. All right, folks. So that was Nick Goody. I hope you all enjoyed the interview. Really cool guy. I really enjoyed talking to him. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll love to get him back on. I would love to start doing the pre-games with him. It sounds like he'd be down to do it. So I will definitely hit him up on X, because I did start following him on X, and so I will definitely hit him up and see if he wants to do any pre-games with me. So Let's see. Let's see what the future holds. But folks, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to go live for the pregame in about 45 minutes. I hope to see you all there. And also tonight, for tonight's game, I will be doing the play-by-play for Game 4. All right, I will be doing the play-by-play for tonight's game. So I hope to see you all there. Yeah, Judge will not be. I already saw the lineup, so we know he's the number hit. Yeah, he's the number 3 hitter. But I already have a headache because of you, Brad. So I don't need to give myself a massive headache. You do a good job of that. Freaking hater. So, like I said, I'm going to go live for the pregame in about 45 minutes. And then I'm going to do the play-by-play tonight. Ken will be joining me. So I get the play-by-play set up. I hope to see all of you there. Folks in the chat, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you all for your continued support for this channel. I do greatly appreciate it. Make sure you all hit that like button if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe button, folks. Share this channel out with everyone you know. I would greatly appreciate it. All right. I'll see you all in 45 minutes for the pregame. Then I'll see you all for the play-by-play for Game 4 between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees. Let's hope there is a win tonight. The Yankees, it's a must-win. But we'll talk more about that at the pregame. Thank you all for coming on. I'll see you all in 45 minutes. And let's go, Yankees. Enjoy the rest of your day. And see you all soon.